Hi, and welcome back to Boss Wife. I'm your host, Ebony. Here is where you will get your motivation for the week. Here is where you will get the tools and tips to learn how to play, laugh, and live hard, unapologetically. Here is where you will learn how to erase the lines of the box because you realize you cannot be contained. Here is where you will learn how to show up for yourself. Here is where the most powerful transition will begin in your life. Welcome to Boss Wife. Hey guys, and welcome back to Boss Wife. I am your host, Ebony, and it is great to have you guys back. I feel like it's been forever since it's just been you guys and me. We have had guests on, which is always great to have guests over, but it's always great to be intimate and in an intimate setting, which is you and family at home. And that's what I feel like, it's just us and we're just at home talking to each other. So I hope everybody's in the bed. I hope it's just you and me and whatever you're drinking on and snacking on, whatever you're cleaning or studying or whatever, I hope it's just you and me and your relaxing time. So tonight we are talking about building a community and what that means. And just for your comfort, you guys are my community. You guys are my relaxation. I come to you guys to vent and to relate and to help and to promote and to boost and to inspire, encourage. I come to you guys for all of that, and you guys are that for me as well. And so that is what a community is for me. And so I am here to help you guys in any way I can. I've had a lot going on over the past couple of weeks. I am exhausted, but I am here for you guys tonight. And that is also what a community is. So to me, a community is very important. It's not just about, work environment. It's not just about having followers. It's not just about, someone being there for you when you need them. It's about having someone there at all times, even when you don't need them, even when you just need somebody just to listen or, just to go hang out or even just to sit there and just to be quiet, like I've had a best friend like that, like I just need you in the house. I don't even need to talk to you. Like I just need you in the presence because your presence makes me feel better. Your presence is comforting to me. And so that's what a community is to me. And that's what I want to be for you guys. And that's what you guys are for me as well. So I want to thank you guys for showing up for me every Tuesday night, wherever you are. I look at all of my statistics and I look at where everybody is listening, and you guys are all over the world. And I am just ecstatic to see how many people I have listening from, just everywhere, all over the world, outside of Tennessee, Virginia, Florida, New York, New Jersey, Virginia again, sorry. But, overseas, like that's amazing. Russia, Rome, it's just amazing. So you guys, thank you so much for being there for me. And like I said, guys, hit me up. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have questions. And, thank you guys for DMing me. Thank you guys for, telling me what you think of the show. I really appreciate that. And I really, really enjoy talking to you guys. So continue to do that. But anyways, thank you guys for everything that you do, because like I said, it's a community is not about followers. It's about being there for one another. So this has really been something that I really wanted to talk to you guys about, because I think building a community has a lot to do with running your own business, having your own company. Being a great leader has a lot to do with building a community, because everything that you do is under a microscope, right? Because people are looking at you, they're trying to figure out who you are, what you do, what you're about. And then they're trying to figure out if you have anything in common with what they have going on in their life. Like, what is your purpose and what your purpose is going to bring into their life to help them furthermore their purpose, right? So in everything that, we do, I think we talked about this recently, about everything in your life should further the next thing that's in your life. Like everything should align together, right? Nothing should be purposeless. Like everything should be on the same page. People are the same way. So in building your community, I know hopefully everybody's heard the saying, it takes a village to raise children. Well, it takes a village to do anything in life, we had this huge show this weekend, which was a huge success, and I'm just so proud of my team and my family and my friends who all came out to support me, and everyone who was in the show, and it was just amazing. But I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done any of it without everyone who was in it, everyone who was behind the stage, on the stage, everyone who was outside the door, and behind the tables. Like, it took everybody to do it. And I came up with this topic way even before the show, and it just so happens that the show was just this past weekend. But sorry, I'm hitting my mic. But it's just very important to me to have people in my life, and I know it's important to everybody too, because we were put on this earth to make sure that we are helping each other. Without each other, it's going to be a very, very hard life. And I know at this point in time, a lot of people are struggling mentally. There's a lot of mental health battles going on right now, because for one, we don't have that dependency on people. And with COVID right now, it's kind of hard anyways. And I think it was already hard in the beginning, because again, we're people, we're human, and there's a barrier there anyway that people put up, because we don't know if we can trust people. We don't know if people are going to use what we say against us, and there's a lot of things that go into that. So when COVID came along, it just made it 10 times worse, because we couldn't be there physically for each other, and then we couldn't be there emotionally for each other. And so because we were sick and we were battling things, and then we had to take care of people that were in the house, and we couldn't, we just couldn't be there for each other. So I think this is a very relevant time right now, and a very relevant subject to talk about, because we still need each other, and we need each other way more now than we have ever needed each other. We've gone through so much going through COVID, not even just dealing with COVID, everything that surrounded COVID, and it was crazy. I'm not a political person, so we're definitely not going to get into it, but just all of the political things that were going on, it's just ridiculous. So I think we definitely need each other way more now than we have ever needed each other before. So this subject is definitely relevant. So anyways, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And so let's jump right into it. So let's talk about the 3 topics of your foundation for building your community. So the first topic is identification. The second one is validation. And the third one is participation. So starting with validation, the community has to align with your identification. So you want to make sure that whoever you're bringing into your business aligns with the same purposes and the same reasons of what you're doing. I have a modeling studio. So we are going to, let's just stick with that. We're not going to go abroad, because we want to make sure everything makes sense, right? So in my modeling studio, I have acting, modeling, body arts, and makeup classes. So I'm the modeling instructor. Well, I can't go outside of my company and bring in somebody who does, let's say, gaming. Right? So anything that I do for my modeling studio, it has to be on purpose. Like, it has to align with the main target of my studio. So I have a modeling instructor, which is me. I have a makeup instructor. I have a acting instructor. You want to make sure that when in your community, anything or anybody that you bring inside has to have the same purpose and have the same desires of what you're trying to do. So in building your community, the people that you are trying to attract, they have to be on the same page with you, right? So you want to make sure that when you're reaching out to these people, that you do your research, you do your background, you do your, you're digging into their history. Don't just go for the first person that says, yeah, I'm interested in this, and I love doing this, I love doing that, and okay, you're hired, or okay, you're in my inner circle. I've done that. Like, well, I haven't done that per se, but I've kind of done it. Like, I've trusted somebody, and I'm like, okay, if you say this person's good for this and that's what we're going to do, I'm going to trust you. And yes, bring this person into my studio, and, let's give them a shot. And let's say, they'll be in the shot, and they'll be in the studio, and, whatever. it did not work out because let me tell you, I did not do my background. I didn't do my, I didn't dig into their history. I didn't do my full search on this person or these people. And it just didn't work out because a lot of people have a lot of interests, right? I have a lot of different interests, and it's okay. It is very much okay for you to have a lot of different interests in a lot of different things. People have to be passionate though. If they're not passionate about what you're passionate about, it's definitely not going to work. So, and it's a learning curve for everybody, even on jobs. Like I still work a 9-to-5 job. I am very passionate about helping patients. I'm very passionate about the medical field. I am not, should I say that? Okay, I'm just gonna keep it real because you guys are my community, right? We love each other. We're here for each other. So I'm not passionate about sleep apnea. I'm just gonna keep it real. Like I'm just not. I'm sorry. I'm very passionate about cardiology, very passionate about phlebotomy, and a lot of other things. Sleep apnea, not one. I love my job, don't get me wrong. I think I love my patients more and I love the people that I work with. I'm just that type of person though. Like if anything that I do wholeheartedly. So it really doesn't matter what I do pretty much, because if I go after it, then, I'm going to get my 100%. But my modeling studio definitely gets like 200% because it's what I'm passionate about, right? So that makes sense. So definitely you want to make sure you are attracting people who are definitely passionate about what you're doing, passionate about whatever they are applying for or saying, that, yeah, I really want to do this. Like at this current moment, I'm looking for someone who is passionate about marketing. I went to school for marketing, so I have a degree in marketing. I'm not really passionate about marketing though. Like I can do it. I don't have a problem with doing it. It wears me out. I'm just keeping it real. So we definitely want to make sure that whatever you do in building your foundation, these are definitely key elements that you want to make sure they're nailed down, concreted, like cemented, because it's important. Like you cannot have a unleveled foundation. And I think a lot of times when we're building our companies and we're building our community, let's just stick with that. When we're building our community for anything that we're doing, we sometimes don't do our background, we don't do our history, we don't do our homework, and we skip over things that are important, and then we get disappointed, and life is full of disappointments, and that's okay because it's also full of learning, and you learn, you live and you learn, and that's how it goes. But it's just very important to make sure that when you are in the identification stages of building your community, that you make sure that when you are looking for these people, they are definitely what you want. Okay, they are wholeheartedly, this is what I want to do. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's not just something that they are able to do. It's something that they want to do. This is something that they want to do for years and years to come. Because if this is something that you plan on doing for 10 years from now, 15 years from now, you need to make sure there's something that they plan on doing for 15, 20, 30 years from now as well. I was sitting at my desk today and I was thinking, 10 years from now, where do I see my studio? 10 years from now, where do I see my podcast? 10 years from now, do I want to do my podcast? And these are questions that we need to be asking ourselves. Like, just because we're going through whatever we're going through today doesn't mean we're going to be going through the same things we're going through right now, 5 years from now, 2 months from now, 10 years from now. You guys heard my podcast a few weeks ago when Danny was on. He was telling you the statistics of podcasters. Like, that's why there are so many podcasters out there. Like, that's why let me rephrase that. That's why there's so many podcasts out there, because people start and stop things so much. Like, you got to make sure whatever you start, and it's okay to start and stop things because we go through phases in life. Children go through phases in life. So we know that adults are definitely going to go through phases in life. But, you just, in building a community and building a business or whatever you're going to do, make sure that you're not building a phase, because you don't want to be going through a phase and you're building a foundation, you're building a company, and then you leave people hanging. Like, you're the one to disappoint people, right? So you want to make sure that you're 100% as well, that you're that concrete for other people as well. Okay. So knowing the vision of what you're creating, knowing the vision of what you're trying to bring structure to is very important. The vision of my studio has a long-term purpose to it. The vision of my podcast has a long-term purpose to it. Like, I can totally see my girls picking up my podcast in 10 or 15 years, because my daughters own their own companies already. Like, my youngest daughter is 12 and she's already doing her own sugar scrubs, and I can see her venturing out into her own skincare products. And my oldest daughter, she's 14, and I can see her venturing, she already does her own bakery, so I can see her picking up my podcast and doing things with that as well. So like, everything in my life has a structure and a purpose to it, so I can definitely see my vision growing. And so in your community, you want to make sure that when you are aligning yourself with people and surrounding yourself with people around you, that everyone's vision is in sync. You don't want to bring in an imposter, and that is very important as well in building your community, because we definitely run into imposters all the time, and sometimes people don't know that they are an imposter, and we're just gonna bypass that one. Okay, yeah. So let's bypass that. So we don't, we run into imposters at times, and so we want to make sure that we recognize those people. When we are in church, and our pastor, we're the sheep, right? So we're the sheep. Our pastors are tending to their flock. They know when there's a wolf among their sheep, right? Just like the sheep knows when there is an imposter trying to lead them. You have to know when there's an imposter in your community. In building my podcast, I had to know the structure of my podcast. I had to know who I was trying to reach. I had to know who I was trying to build. I had to know who I was trying to encourage. I had to know who I needed to reach back out to me and encourage me. Like, the people who come onto my podcast, like, I need to know, their purpose. I need to know their structure of their podcast or their structure of their life, because I want the people who are speaking on my podcast to build my community as well. So everything has to, has to be in line or align with your vision of life. It has to build who you are. Again, we have to make sure that everything is on purpose that we do in life. Our next one is validation. So when you're building your community and you're communicating with the people that's in your community, you want to make sure that you validate them. You want to make sure that you're building them. You want to make sure that anything that they do, you're saying thank you. You're saying, I appreciate you. You're saying, this is what I have for you. This is what I'm getting from you. This is what your participation means to me. In validation, we want to make sure that they are made aware of how important their participation is. In running a company, it is very important that your staff or team or actors or whatever you want to call your community, it's important that they feel important. It's important that they feel respected. It's important that they feel needed. It's important that they participate, because without them, you have nothing. Right? Like, you have nobody to depend on. You have nobody to do anything for you. You have no one to lean on or to trust with anything. You have no one to carry out your vision. All of these things are important. In building anything and building your foundation, you need support, right? A house always needs support. Your foundation needs support. Your foundation is there for support, but something has to support the foundation, right? The ground has to be sturdy. It has to be solid. It has to be concrete to support your foundation. This is what you need. That participation, that's your support. That's your concrete. So in that support, you want to make sure that you're validating them to the point where they feel like there's nowhere else I want to be. There is nowhere else that needs me more than where I am right now. And there's nowhere else I want to be. There's nowhere else that's more important other than, my family, of course. But, like, as far as a community, like, they don't want to be anywhere else. That is what is missing on these so-called quote unquote jobs, because they don't validate you. They don't make you feel valued. They don't make you feel like there's no one else that can do what you do. Because let's be real, there is. Like, when you're working on somebody else's job, you can always be replaced the next moment. That's why I don't put stock on these jobs. Like, yes, I do give my 100% wherever I go or whatever I do. But let's just face it. Like, if I get sick and I have to take medical leave tomorrow, if I'm on leave too long, hey, Ebony, sorry, but we need to replace you because we got to keep doing what we're doing. Like, our business has to keep running. And that's just what life is. We can't, like, life can't stop because you're not there. They have to keep going. But in all essence, like, you have to make sure when you're building your community, your people feel like, no, my life will stop if you're not there. Like, you want to make them feel like, I need you. I can't breathe. I can't live. I can't sleep. I can't eat without you being there. Because when people feel that important, they will make sure that no matter what they do, your job, your vision, your dreams, your desires, your whatever will come true, because it is just that important to them as well. And let's face it, trusting people with your vision, trusting people with your baby isn't easy. With me, with my studio, I have a person who, like my show that I had this weekend, like, I have a person who I know for a fact, 100%, that can run my stage. I don't have to be out front. I know that I have a front person who is going to make sure that show goes off without a hitch. I'm that backstage person that's going to make sure everything that in the back goes off without a hitch. I have a person who's going to make sure, that my door is taken care of, my makeup, is taken care of, my props are taken care of. Like, I have people in those set positions because I need those people, and I need to make sure that they feel special. I need to make sure that they feel needed. I need to make sure that they feel appreciated. So that validation is key in building your community. Okay. So participation, participation. Let's just, we're human, we're real on here. So participation is number one. Without participation, you have absolutely nothing. Zero, zilch. If your people don't show up for you, what do you have? Just you. And you cannot put on anything. You cannot run a company. You cannot do anything without people. Taking it back to the family. Like, it's me and my husband here and my aunt, and this is it, and without our church family, I don't know what we would do. Like, honestly, we would be sinking, drowning. I don't know. Like, it would be over, because we have 4 children, and he works, I work. If we get sick, if something goes down, the cars go down, whatever, we need people to help us. Like, it takes a village. It really does. And so, even with doctor's appointment, like, I've called friends from church and say, hey, can you take my baby to the doctor? Or, can you take them to the dentist appointment? Can you pick them up from track practice? Can you do this? Like, it takes all of us. And, they do the same with me. So when you're building that community for your business, you need these people. You need to be able to trust these people. You need these people to show up for you, because if they do not, things are going to fall off. And then people are going to notice that, hey, that business isn't sturdy. It isn't running smooth. We can look at the community now. Like, look at these fast food places. Look at the restaurants you're going to. Just look around, period. Because people aren't working. People aren't showing up for work. People aren't going back to work. People are getting laid off. Like, COVID has really made people look at life totally different. We have more people coming up with their own businesses now, because people are like, you know what? I don't need to work for somebody else. I know what's in me now. And, and just with that alone, that's amazing. But then we have these other companies where people just aren't showing up for work because they're depending on the government or depending on the city or the state or whatever. And you're pulling up to a window because you just need a burger and fries for your kids because you're going to the next game, and it's like, hey, I don't have enough workers today, so we just serving drinks. And you're like, oh, okay, well, I appreciate you. I need fries to go with that drink, but we'll move on to the next one. And it's like, what do you do? So in your community and building whatever you're building and building your business or whatever, you need your people to show up. So you need to make sure that their visions are aligned with yours. You need to make sure that they are feeling validated. You need to make sure that they're going to show up for you. So in everything that you do, it is important that you are a great leader. That is the key to building a great community. I have been building up to this because you have to know how to carry yourself in order to carry other people. Because when you are building a business, when you are building a community, when you are doing anything dealing with other people, you have to know how to carry yourself in order to carry other people. So you have to know how to love people. You have to know how to respect people. You have to know how to just care for people. And I'm putting emphasis on that word. So caring for people means you respect them enough to allow them to be who they are without demeaning them, and loving them where they are. And it takes a really big person to love someone where they are and not try to move them from where they are to where you want them to be. Okay. I have a supervisor that I'm not really fond of, and I understand that that's who she is. And I understand that, that may be all she can be, but I also need her to know that there's more to being a leader than being a manager. And that's two different things. Being a manager, anybody can be a manager. You got fast food managers. Anybody can be a fast food manager. And I mean, we just being real. And I love everybody. And I don't know if I should have said that. I'm sorry. But I'm just going to keep it real. We're just going to keep it real in here. But, technically anyone can be a fast food manager. And we need every single person. We do. We need everybody. We need everybody because we go to these places. So we need everybody to run these places. But in order to be a great leader, you need a little bit more extra. You need a little bit more extra finesse when you're being a leader. When you are over people or you are trying to lead someone and you're leading multiple people, you have to know how to reward them other than just saying thank you. You have to know how to reward them other than just saying, here is a gift card, or, here is, an extra t-shirt day or whatever. That's awesome. We love those things, but we need you to actually treat us like we're human beings. Like, we need you to, show that you care about me other than just me showing up for work today. In order to be a great leader, you have to know how to allow people, and I'm just going to say it, how to allow people to vent on whatever and get it all out. We had this one office manager before this one came along, and it was funny because we could go to him and say whatever we wanted to say. Literally, we could talk about the person next to him and he wouldn't say one word, but we would get the job done. And it was just he allowed us to be who we were, because at the moment he was like, okay, I know you need to get it out. Okay, so now we got a job to do. And, that's just the difference between a great leader and a great manager. Because a manager's like, okay, well, let me take note. Let me write this down. Okay, we need to fix it. No, I don't need you to take back every single word I said, because that person may be having an off day and I may be having an off day, and we just may be butting heads today, because tomorrow we may be okay. But see, when you're building a community, even though your visions may align, everyone may not get along at every single moment. In my production this weekend that I had, I ain't like everybody at the same time. My stage girl, she came in and she was like, okay, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to change this, we need to change that. And I was just like, okay, let me get out of her way, because she's on a roll and I'm irritated, I'm tired, I'm ready to get the show, and she came in doing her thing. So what I did was I stepped aside, because that is what she is great at doing, and I knew that's why I have her on my team. You know what I'm saying? You just have to know how to allow people to be great at what they do. And then you also have to allow people to do what they do. And I hope you guys can understand what I'm saying, because we all need to be allowed to be who we are and also be great at what we do, all in the same community. And I think that's what we're missing on jobs, and that's why they're called jobs and not careers, because there's a difference between a job and a career, and that's why, and it's okay to have a job for the time being, because everybody has a means to an end, so while you're on your means to an end, You know, you have to have a certain structure, and that's okay. But in building your community, these are the things that you need to look for. So you need to make sure that when you're building your community, that you're putting the right people in place. Because like with me and, my stage person, like we're hand in hand, we're not vinegar and oil. We're salt and pepper. We go together. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like she came in doing her thing, I stepped aside. When I come in doing my thing, she steps aside. Like we back each other. I keep my mouth shut, she keeps her mouth shut. Like we don't butt heads. We allow each other to be great, and then we allow each other to do whatever we need to do or say whatever we need to say, get it off our chest, and then we love each other. And that's what we all need, because at the end of the day, we're all human. And if you don't allow people to be who they are, you're going to have confrontation. You have to understand people. And if you don't allow people to be understood, you're going to have a lot of misunderstandings, right? And it's okay. It is okay to not agree with people. It's okay to disagree. It is. It's okay to agree to disagree all the time. That's perfectly okay. But when it comes to building your community, you need people in your inner circle who's going to be on the same page with you, regardless if they don't agree with you. Like, I may not agree with, what you're saying at this moment, but I'm still going to help your vision go forward. Or I may not agree with, this particular part of your wants, but I see the bigger picture. I hope that makes sense. I have a lot of big dreams, a lot of big goals. I go for the jugular. Like whatever I do, I go for the big thing, and I have friends that be like, okay, Ebony, I see what you're saying, but let's bring it in. You guys have heard me say that a lot. Like they were like, oh, okay, well, let's take this, let's take that, let's take this, and we're going to leave all 5 of those over there. Like you need people like that in your community, because that's what makes you great. You definitely don't want to have yes men around you. If you have someone who always agrees with everything you say, they always think every word you say is awesome, you're perfect, you're right all the time, you are surrounded by imposters, and you do not want that. You don't want who is going to lie to your face, talk behind your back, and then try to promote you and look at you and let you fall flat on your face. You don't want that. You want to make sure that people keep you grounded, they keep you level-headed, and that's what keeps you great. Like that's what keeps you a great leader. Being a great leader is someone who inspires someone else to be innovative. You introduce creativity, you introduce curiosity, you serve selfishly, and then you make people want to serve you selfishly. Like that's the difference between a leader and a manager. A manager is someone who makes them work for them. Like, don't make me work for you. Allow me to work beside you. That's the difference. Like that's what's missing on these jobs. Allow me to work beside you. Allow me to tell you, hey, you know what I think will help this run smoother? Allow me to be, me. Let me help you make your place better. Like that's the difference. Allow people to be great with you, alongside you, to make your vision better. People are great. So you want to make sure that your community is amazing. That's what's going to make your community amazing, by allowing great people to make you greater, right? A great leader also has honesty. They are very trustworthy. You can look at a person and pretty much tell what you see is what you get. Humility. They're very humble. They're not high-minded. I'm definitely not a high-minded person. I'm a very humble person. I don't think too much of myself. I don't think too little of myself. I love encouraging other people. I will encourage other people way before I encourage myself. And that's what people want out of a great leader. You have to know that, it's okay to think you're great, right? Because I'm using that word a lot tonight. So it's okay to think that you're great. It's okay to think you are fantastic, that you are just amazing. But the people that are working alongside of you have to feel like you think that they are like the cream of the crop. And you actually have to believe it, because why would you want to work with someone who isn't? Because I'm going to tell you, like the ladies that I work with, I definitely think that they're the cream of the crop. And I tell them that all the time. Like, I cannot believe how freaking amazing they are. And I think that like Chattanooga's definitely sleep on them. Like seriously, and I think they're amazing. But you have to, again, validate the people that are in your community. That's part of it. You know, you have to have a clear focus of whatever you're trying to execute. And as a leader, you definitely have to know how to execute a plan. You cannot be indecisive. People won't follow you if you don't know what you're doing. Right? So that all goes along with being a great leader, all goes along with being, with building your community. That's your foundation. After you build your foundation, you got to know what you're doing. That goes with the structure. You can't just be out here all willy-nilly doing whatever you want to do and just making up things as you go, because people can see through that. People can see when you're the imposter. People want to grow. People want to follow something that's great. People want to invest in things that are great. People want to invest in things that have a purpose. Give them something to invest in. Give people something to follow. But you got to be real. You have to be real with you before you can be real with other people, right? Okay, guys, so thank you so much for joining me again tonight on this Tuesday night on bosswife.live. Thank you so much for coming back and being a part of my community. I'm so grateful for you guys, like I tell you guys every week. So next Tuesday, come back because I have another great guest. I'm so excited to talk to her, guys. She is something amazing, let me tell you. So I'm so excited for you guys to hear what we've talked about. Again, you guys know where to reach me: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you are, I am there. Don't forget to watch the live video next week. You guys know whenever I have a guest on, we do a live video. So we will definitely be on YouTube next week. I cannot wait to see you guys again. Have a great week. Love you.